Hi, I am Davina, and hello to all of you bold, beautiful, and brilliant, highly evolved souls. Today's topic is speaking up for yourself and I don't know what to call it, talking back to the narcissist parent. Um, I have just woken up a little while ago and I was feeling tired, and this is very familiar. The tiredness, feeling scared, feeling sad. It's so convincing that it's like even when I tell myself it's a flashback, I can still not fully believe that it's a flashback. Um, and I looked in the mirror and I noticed the voice in my head was saying, "You look ugly. You look tired, Davina. What's wrong with you? You look, and all these thoughts in my head, like, you're so inadequate. How are you gonna do it? And then the hopelessness starts coming in, like, how are you gonna do your life if you're gonna be so tired and wretched? And um, yeah, I mean, this voice is very, it's it's the voice that we heard from our parents. And yeah, and what I started doing was I started challenging my parents as if they were here in my apartment, and I started speaking up to um for my inner child, Donna, because that was my given name, and Mona and Dawn are my parents' names. So, for example, I started saying, Mona, what are you doing calling Donna ugly? Like, F you, Um, she's a beautiful little girl. What the hell are you doing bullying and beating up on your child? Like, are you that weak that you have to bully a 2-year-old? You know? Or speaking up to my father and saying, Don, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? You feel like such a failure that you have to project that on to Donna? She is 5 years old. What is wrong with you? What is your problem? um, like, how could you do that to your child? You know, are you that small? Do you have to you have to protect your small and fragile, weak ego that much that you have to project that onto your innocent and helpless child, defenseless child? Wow, really? Um, yeah, so that is an example of how I was advocating for Donna, and just really speaking up to my parents like I wish I could have as a child. Because as a child, if you speak up, you speak up to your parents, your narc parents are just going to bully and punish you more, more blame, more shame. And so there was no way out. There was no way out but to go along with their game and and believe in that shame, and believing in that was what got you through, believing that their narrative of you, that you were weak, inadequate, stupid, ugly, a failure, a loser, um, too sensitive, or whatever their story was, probably all of it. um, you know, you had to go along with their narrative to get through. You were a scapegoat for them. That's it. They pretty much used their child as a garbage can for their own shame and pain. They're like, I can't deal with this pain. This feels intolerable, feeling this kind of shame, and I need to get it out. I need to see somebody else suffering in that shame. I actually need to, what I watched on Jay Reid's video yesterday or the day before was that, the parent really needs to see that child feeling that kind of shame. They need to be a bear witness, is what he said, bear witness to that shame. Which to me, I mean, just it sounds like absolute evil, right? It does. And yet this whole process for them is, of course, it's subconscious. They don't know that they're doing it, right? I mean, like it's coming from their subconscious, and consciously they are doing these actions, but everything is actually launched from the subconscious mind, as most of us humans are walking around living from basically our subconscious minds. Anyway, my point is to really recognize that I've said it a million times probably, but the shame and the self-blame can be so insidious, and it can be there and you can not even know that it's there because you're so accustomed to feeling like the shame, number one, like, yeah, I'm inadequate, I'm not measuring up, I'm just a despicable human being, and then secondly, the self-blame, like it's my fault, I did something wrong, I'm getting it wrong, I'm bad, um yeah, I'm a terrible human, or whatever it is, like blaming yourself for these feelings. Like, I feel tired. Like, and you can imagine a parent going, like I could hear the voice in my head, well, why didn't you sleep in then? Like that's what the narc parent does. Like, they blame the child for anything and everything. And for that, that scapegoat um bears that burden of their dysfunction. Whew. And I'm in a flashback right now, but it really has helped me to just turn that around and to, like, yeah, really advocate for my inner child and say, no, you cannot treat her like that anymore. And I've noticed that in my boundary setting too, that my boundaries are getting stronger. And I'm like, no, you are not going to treat Donna like that. No, she's like, I'm going to protect her. And no, I don't put up with that. Those kind of behaviors anymore. No, you're not going to ignore her. No, I don't put up with people who don't respond to me. Yeah, there's just a lot of crap I'm not willing to put up with anymore. So it does get better, very like smidge by smidge by smidge. And sometimes it's hard to notice that it's getting better because it can still be so incredibly painful and difficult and exhausting, because a lot of the abandonment, I think like all of these feelings are under the abandonment umbrella. So, and exhaustion is a flashback. So if you're feeling exhausted, that's part of what your inner child, that what your child self went through was, probably just daily exhaustion because of dealing with the shame and the fear and, the daily terror of abandonment and the people pleasing. Like, imagine the mental work just to try and like figure out what your parents needed. Um, yeah, so give your child compassion, speak up, advocate for yourself, both in the imaginary, if you want to have an imaginary conversation with your parents, but also in the real world, be an advocate for yourself and your inner child. And that's what I wanted to share today. And I'm really wishing you many, many blessings on your journey of healing and awakening. And I am Davina at Boldness Blooming.